Welcome back to the new year of a Gay Man's Fantasy Football League. It's me, Russell, here with
Hunter, your co-host.
Co-host Bays.
Blake, the GOAT.
and we're happy to be here. We got a lot of new content this year too. We're very, very excited. I say we just dive right in. What do you think, boys?
Yeah, week one was in the books.
Week
already.
one in the books.
What a week.
I just want to make a quick announcement. We're going to do things a little bit differently. The main video will be on YouTube Weekly, where we go over the actual, NFL teams, waiver wire, stuff like that. And then we'll have our different content, like for our league on Instagram. That way everyone gets what they want. But, yeah.
Matchups
Right.
first.
Do you want to dive into the matchups, or do you guys want to dive into the news first?
We can do news.
Huh? Let's let Paze dive into the news first. He's got a lot
Yeah,
to say.
Bays had a lot
to say.
of heartbreaking news.
Yeah, man, it's been a fucking tough couple days for me, dude. One of my leagues, two days, 2 Achilles gone. J.K. Dobbins out for the season. Aaron Rodgers, we just heard this morning, out for the season.
Probably his
You actually
career.
see it in the video. You can watch it pop
That's terrible,
in
man.
slow motion. That's awesome.
You guys think he's done for his career?
I hope not, but me and Hunter were talking about it. He's done, dude. He's like 40, torn Achilles.
That's a rare injury for anybody to come back from.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's not Cam Akers, a young man.
Another tragedy on 9/11 for New York.
Yeah, that's terrible. It's got to be the worst day ever for most old New Yorkers.
Oh, absolutely.
I enjoyed seeing the depressed face of that fan that was flicking off the
That
camera.
was pretty funny.
That
They
was
did
pretty
come
funny.
out with the win, though. So, the Jets have something to be happy
Didn't
about.
you say it was on the same day as Joe Namath's injury or something like that?
No, I was just saying that he's the best QB that the Jets have had since Joe Namath.
I saw Colin Kaepernick's agent is reaching out to New York.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
Some other news, though. Deontay Johnson went down with a hamstring injury. I think he's going to be out for a few weeks. That sucks because I'm sure a lot of people are starting him in their flex or relying on him as a wide receiver 3 or 4 in fantasy.
To be honest, man, with Kenny Pickett back there, dude, I'm kind of relieved you don't have to start him, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
All that hype about Kenny Pickett kind of went out the window. They did play
They
the
played the
Niners.
49ers.
Yeah.
That's a really good defense. Not a single person looked good yesterday for the
You also
Steelers.
got tight end Greg Dulcich went down in the Broncos game.
Oh.
Should be out a couple weeks. He's, semi-startable.
Now they're missing, Judy? Judy's still out. They're missing Judy and Dolchich.
At least they have Adam
Yeah.
Troutman.
Judy was scratched at, last minute, though. There's, it was day of whenever he got scratched.
This is a big one, too. Eckler dealing with an ankle injury. That's awful because I know he went top 5 in most leagues.
I didn't see that go down. Was that like a...
Joshua,
He limped. He hobbled off the field.
Did he?
yeah.
I don't think it's major, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
If you're desperate for a running back this week, if you had J.K. Dobbins, Joshua Kelly will be good for at least next week.
Maybe.
I don't think Eckler misses a week, though, do you?
He maybe not
could.
misses, but I'm sure he's going to get less work,
He only played, 45% of the snaps Eckler did week
She
one?
still finished RB1, though, huh? On
That's
the
crazy.
week.
Who else? Jacoby Myers with a concussion. He had a fantastic game before he went
Oh,
down,
dude,
too.
he got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looked
if you
dead.
saw
He
that,
looked like
you thought he
holy
was dead.
shit.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I thought it was like a major neck injury.
He looked
wasn't moving.
lifeless on the field.
Yeah, it really did not look good, dude.
Aaron Jones, he kind of pulled up, grabbing his hammy on that long touchdown run. So that's something to keep an eye on. AJ Dillon could really profit from if Aaron Jones misses any time.
Who was that other running back that the Packers were using, though? Because he got a lot of work.
Patrick Taylor, but they also have Emmanuel Wilson, which he led the preseason in rushing yards. They're okay backs. Nothing. I wouldn't roster them in fantasy.
Something to watch, but you think Aaron Jones plays this week?
I don't know the severity.
He was
of the
smiling
injury.
at shit on camera, getting his hamstring.
They were stretching
stretched.
him out, yeah.
So who knows?
I don't know if anybody saw this. Not that it means much, but Melvin Gordon activated to the Ravens. or
Let's
from
move
the
on.
Ravens practice squad.
Let's move on.
That
I
was
never noticed it.
Anthony Richardson bruised his right knee on the last play of the game too.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Game was already over.
So I'm sure he's gonna be questionable all week, but I bet he plays.
No, he was fighting for They were in the red zone. He was fighting
I thought
for.
the game was over already.
I'm pretty sure they were down by 9 or 10 by that point.
There was
Wasn't
like
it
40 seconds left.
It was
in the game or something.
31-21, so they needed a touchdown and get an onside kick. And
I thought it was the one. I could be mistaken. I could have sworn it was a one-score game. But regardless, that's a bummer. He looked really good before that. I thought he was
He
using
did.
his legs a lot.
He
He was making
he
pretty
did
safe
look
passes.
really good.
He's questionable for next week, though. I think he'll play.
Yeah, I bet he plays too.
Well, he's a big guy.
They do have Minshew though, so who knows?
Love me some
What's
Minshew
with
mania.
what's with the Falcons and Cordarrelle? What's going on with him? So
He was questionable going into the day. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think I heard hamstring,
okay.
but he was questionable going in. It's not a healthy scratch thing or nothing like that.
I saw what's his position this year? The Joker.
Yeah, they put him
Yeah.
at J
Joker,
on the
that's-
depth
that's
chart.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it
He's
it's like
listed
that.
at J.
That's like some Dion shit, bro.
He changed his profile picture on X, not Twitter, to the Joker.
The
So
Joker.
yeah,
Almost said Twitter.
I almost said
We're
Twitter.
that close. Last injury I can see here though, Fryermuth with a chest injury. I know he's starting in most leagues because tight ends are just so awful.
I forgot he went
So-
down.
Yeah,
That
like,
sucks.
Did he ever come back in the game?
I don't think he did.
Well, not to mention before the week, all the tight ends were out.
That's
I mean,
what I
no
was gonna say.
Kelsey, no
no Mandrews.
Yeah.
Kittle was questionable coming in.
Ended
the
up
game.
playing.
He still had a pretty good game.
Who else was
Decent
out?
game
Waller
for
was
tight end.
questionable.
Waller didn't play, did he?
No, I think he did.
No,
Oh, he
played.
did. He did.
No one really played for the Giants though.
Yeah.
Except
Nobody
Daniel
showed
Jones.
up.
He played all 4
The
quarters.
offensive line
He played
definitely
too much.
Yeah,
They should have taken Jones out before the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tight end situation in the NFL kind of sucks, but we'll go into that in the waivers here in a bit. So
Yeah, there's some juicy tight ends.
that'll do it for the news, though. Moving on to our actual NFL matchups. I guess we'll just go right into the Thursday night preview, which was actually a pretty great game.
It was a great game.
Blake, you want to start us off with that?
Yeah, the Lions came out and upset our defending Super Bowl champions, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That game really showed the value of Travis Kelce to that team, or maybe the value someone like Tyreek Hill could have.
Chris Jones.
Yeah,
Chris Jones, too, yeah.
he did get paid the other day.
He did, and that went over my head. I found out, like, the next day. He got paid on Sunday night.
I didn't see he got paid either.
He did.
That's nice.
They're
It was-
talking.
I think it was
talking
Sunday.
about
His talk worked.
He probably saw how embarrassing the game was. If you were big on people like Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore, I don't think you should be anymore. They both had 4 drops.
I think that's an overreaction.
Dude,
I don't think
I don't
Sky
know.
Moore.
Wide receivers are gonna have their weeks like that.
Yeah,
I will
but
say
he's
though,
drops
so
apiece.
inconsistent for the Chiefs.
I will
though.
say though, Rashee Rice, I think he looked really good. I think they might have something in him.
Well,
Yeah.
compare him to anyone else, I mean, he looked phenomenal because no one else did anything at all. Jared Goff came out, had a pretty good game. Jahmyr Gibbs looked great.
Yeah, with the very limited amount of touches he got, but he looked fantastic.
They-
I
regardless.
saw some absurd yards per carry stats for him.
Yeah.
I forgot
Oh, yeah.
what, or it was like yards after contact.
Yeah,
he was averaging
broke
4.5
he
yards
broke
after
6
contact.
tackles, I believe.
6
on
tackles.
10 carries, maybe
And,
less.
yeah, and
Swift
their running back
had, like-
Swift last year broke like 10 all year or something like that.
No, he 20 in his like Detroit career,
Oh yeah,
which is wild.
I
So
think
Gibbs looks really good.
I think they're smart because they want him healthy.
Yeah.
For the playoffs. They're
Mm.
they're gonna be a
I
borderline
do kind of
playoff
like
team
as an
this year.
NFL team. I think it's smart. As a fantasy owner of Jahmyr
It
Gibbs,
sucks.
I'm pissed.
Speaking of poor tight end play, maybe not so. Sam Laporta I thought looked pretty good. He was 5
He
for
did.
5 on his targets.
Yeah.
8.9.
Definitely.
That's a startable week, especially for this week with the way.
For
yeah.
for tight ends, and then
And for
he's
a
a
rookie?
rookie. For a rookie in his
game?
first
Oh, yeah.
game,
I thought
I'd
he
be
looked good.
excited.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra looked every bit as good as
I
we
was
thought
just
he
about to say
was.
What we
Just
expected.
about to say we can't move on without saying something about
Yeah,
him.
Amon-Ra also just shout out to Josh Reynolds, man. I thought he had a really good game as well, man. 4 receptions, 80 yards.
Yeah.
Pretty
Every
good
time
game.
I looked up, he had the ball in his hands. So.
Probably scooped if he's on waivers.
That Lions D
Facts.
might look. They look very much improved from last year. They look like they might be
I thought so.
decent.
I agree. I think the Lions are going to have a good season. Moving on to the next matchup, though, we've got Carolina versus Atlanta, a divisional matchup. I guess Bay should start this one off.
Falcons starting 1-0 for the first time since 2018. I know that's depressing, but
That was crazy when I saw
it's
that.
exciting for me, man. But dude, I mean, there's a good bit to talk about here. I guess we got Algier and Bijan Robinson both getting above 20 points. I genuinely think this could end up being like a situation where you could start both running backs.
Like Ingram
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kamara from 2017.
Yeah, I think it could easily end up being like that, or I think Bijan could easily take over as well. But
I agree. I think
I
they're both
agree.
startable.
it's a toss-up, but I think they could be both startable.
I think we got an RB1 and an RB2 on our hands
Mhm.
when it comes to the Falcons.
But they both have RB1 ceilings, I think.
Exactly,
weekly.
yeah.
With how much the Falcons run the ball.
And if one of them goes down, that other guy is going to be top 5.
But still, same story as last year with the Falcons. Man, Desmond Ridder threw the ball 18 times. Granted,
Mhm.
I think he did look good whenever he did throw the ball, but it's a coaching thing. Arthur Smith doesn't want to give it to his weapons. So
He only had 3 incompletions.
yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, he just needs to protect the ball and we'll win games. And I think Arthur Smith knows that.
He didn't throw many crazy passes. You know, that's why he had low.
There was a
incompletion
big
rate.
pass to
Well,
Pitts.
he
that
did
got
have
called
that-
back in
yeah,
the
that
second
dot to
quarter.
Pitts at the end, yeah, was
Though-
nice.
That was the one pass that I saw that I was like, oh, maybe Ritter's actually pretty good.
The Falcons are
Accurate guy.
the Falcons are a ground and pound team, and
Yeah.
I mean Ritter doesn't need to go out and throw the ball 20 times. I mean, but Pitts and London, they're not going to get a large share of targets this year. It's going to be smash mouth football. They have a top 10 line.
Yeah,
I mean, I
they have
expected
a
that.
top, they have a
Run
top
blocking-
3 run blocking.
Run blocking, yeah, for sure, top 3. Our pass blocking was very sus, man. Like that's also a main reason why I think Desmond Ritter was not throwing the ball as much. I think they do want to open him up a little bit this year, but he was getting hit every time he dropped back.
Yeah.
I mean, I was low on London all off season, and I saw him going in like the 3rd round in a lot of leagues, maybe even 2nd. I'm trying to see where we drafted him.
No, he was not 2nd or 3rd. That's
He
wild.
was 3rd or 4th.
He was.
I
Like,
saw
he's
London
probably
going pretty high in a lot of
Probably
leagues.
Where did he go in this league?
He went 5th,
5th, right?
but we're all geniuses.
Yeah.
What did y'all
Fair
think
enough.
of Bryce Young and Miles Sanders' debut?
I was
I
about
was
to
just
say
about to
Miles
say.
Sanders looked pretty decent. I mean,
Yeah,
I
100 yards,
wouldn't
yeah.
want to touch anybody
70
on the
yards.
Panthers' offense for now,
That was
besides
honestly
maybe
just,
Sanders.
I think that was poor defensive line play. to be
Um,
honest.
honestly, both receiving cores from Carolina and Atlanta are extremely sketchy right now. So time will tell for everybody there.
Yeah,
I do
I don't
think
want
Bryce
anybody
Young looked
from-
pretty good though, man.
Bryce Young had some
He had his
flashes.
ups and downs.
I mean, first game of his NFL career.
Yeah, but he
Can't
looked
hit
like a poised quarterback. He looked like an NFL quarterback in the
Yeah.
pocket. And with his like size and everything, it's good to see that.
He needs some weapons, man.
Yeah.
They need to go get him some weapons.
I agree. Big divisional win though for Atlanta. They're sitting at 1-0, top of the NFC South. Next matchup, we've got the Texans versus the Ravens, which was actually a pretty good game. For the first half.
Unexpectedly. It was
It was closer than it should have
In
been.
the second half, the Ravens were able to open it up, but
I'd say out of all the rookie quarterbacks that started this week, man, I think C.J. Stroud had the best week.
yeah, no picks. He did have a fumble loss, but I mean,
He passed the eye test too. I don't know if you paid much attention to that game. It wasn't on red zone very much because
He just couldn't get the ball in the end zone.
Well, given that he's
25
also
and
you
playing
didn't want to
for
watch that game either with Dobbins going down.
oh
but-
hell no, yeah.
he's also
That was
playing for the
depressing
worst
to me.
team. I would say out of. He had the least expectations. The getting thrown into that Houston offense.
Yeah.
I think so too.
But, I
yeah.
mean, throwing
No
44
weapons.
passes and you're not throwing a pick, man.
That's very
true.
impressive for your
Very
first
solid.
NFL.
40.
start.
He
I mean,
threw the ball 44 times, and Lamar only threw it 22 times. So how's the rookie gonna throw the ball double the times from the veteran
Because he was
QB?
down the whole game. Same thing with Pierce's situation. He gets 11 carries, which isn't bad, but I think he gets closer to 20 if that's a better game script.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, we already went over it in the news. Dobbins going down. What do you think's going on in that Baltimore backfield?
I don't like anybody in that Baltimore backfield. I think Gus Edwards and Justice Hill are gonna be just interchanged. I think they're gonna switch out. I think it's gonna be a committee backfield. I like Keaton Mitchell though. He's on IR right now. He
Is that an undrafted rookie?
he's undrafted rookie. He shared first team reps with J.K. Dobbins throughout training camp in the preseason. So
You don't think they look to the waiver wire for running back, maybe?
they might.
Think Kareem Hunt?
I think Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette.
It's season
could-
started.
they
It's
could
gotta be
very
Kareem
well-
Hunt,
they could
I
very well
think.
go get.
I wouldn't get Leonard Fournette.
I wouldn't either. I'd go for Hunt.
I could see them going and getting Jonathan Taylor too. I think the Ravens are. They
That'd
might.
be-
They
that'd
might
be
think they're all
spicy.
in this year.
It would be spicy.
It'd be spicy.
it'd be super spicy.
I will say Lamar needs Mark Andrews back ASAP.
Zay Flowers looked
But
good.
yeah, Zay Flowers did look good. I was
Oh,
about to
dude,
say.
Zay Flowers looked really good.
Yeah,
man.
Zay Flowers looked great. I got him super late in our draft, and I obviously think most people did. I mean, 10 targets, 9 receptions.
You think he's
They used him
the?
in the rushing game a couple times, little special plays.
Y'all think he's the number one target there in Baltimore?
I think by the end of the year, yeah.
Over
he's
Mark
gonna have
Andrews?
most
I
targets.
mean,
over Mark
Lamar
Andrews,
threw the ball 22
no,
times.
But as a wide receiver, yeah.
No, not over Andrews.
Not over Andrews.
Lamar
but
threw the ball
I
22
still do
times,
like
and
Bateman,
10 of
but
them
yeah, I
were to
think
Zay.
Flowers looked better.
That's almost half of his pass
He had
attempts
5
were Zay Flowers.
incompletions.
Yeah,
What happens when Mark Andrews back though? He's gonna.
the other 10 go to him.
Yeah, and
And
Rashad
then-
Bateman gets 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's it.
And Odell's just dancing in the corner.
Yeah,
Not
Odell's
much
just
of-
hitting the gritty, punching
I don't see
goalposts.
much out of
Not much
Odell.
out of OBJ's debut for the Ravens.
Good win for Baltimore
OBJ's
though.
washed.
Good win
He
for
had one
Baltimore.
catch. Was it one catch?
OBJ, I think he had 2
Two.
catches. Yeah.
Just quickly on the Houston side, I don't think. Yeah, maybe Nico Collins ends up being a starter, but I wouldn't touch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, then
same
at the moment,
Panther
no.
situation for me.
You know, I
right
kind of
now.
like Robert Woods, man. I think he could be a good third down target for CJ.
I don't know. After he burned everybody on the Titans, dude, I
No
don't
one
think
wants
I
to
could
touch
ever touch him.
Good one for Baltimore though. Our next matchup is another divisional one,
Ooh.
which was a weird matchup for
This
most.
game was
Ugh.
awful to watch.
I'm sure the
Stinky.
Browns fans are happy about it though. Joe Burrow finishing with 3 points though has got to piss off a lot of people because he was a top 5 QB drafted everywhere.
He just got paid.
First game as the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and he had 82 passing yards.
It was like 30 at halftime.
That's crazy, man.
Throwing for under 50% completion.
And all those people that drafted Jamar Chase, top 5 overall, I mean, that's heartbreaking. Or if you drafted T. Higgins in your second, third round.
I'm in 3 leagues.
The goose egg out of T. Higgins had to piss off a lot of people.
7 targets, 0 receptions. I mean, that is just... Especially when they're down the whole game, you would think,
I mean, it was windy and it was pouring down rain, so...
It's also the first game of the season. The Bengals are known for just being awful to start the year. This happened last year with them too. So I wouldn't worry yet, but I mean, as a Browns fan, I'd be happy with what I saw out of my team.
I think that
Higgins actually had 8 targets.
that
Eight targets
8
with nothing?
numbers.
burger dropped a burger.
I mean, a
That's
couple of them I
fucking
saw
crazy.
were pretty well defended, deep bombs, but I mean, you can't excuse 8.
Yeah.
0 for 8 is just really sad.
Just a terrible team
That-
performance,
That
man.
Browns
Yeah,
defense is for real too. They just got Zadarius Smith. They got Miles Garrett. I mean, that pass rush is.
I think that Browns
It's the rear
team
deal.
is for real.
The
though.
Browns
I think
team
they
might
could
be,
very easily win
This
the
this
AFC.
division's going to be very entertaining this year. Deshaun looked pretty good though.
Yeah.
I mean, except for that one interception,
No,
that
he
was
looked all right.
awful.
I wouldn't say
Okay, bro.
look
For
good.
his
For
draft,
fantasy,
capital,
He had
man.
150 yards.
Oh,
Deshaun probably, Deshaun
Oof.
probably went in the 7th or 8th round, bro. And 7th round.
His value this year
and
is
he's dropping you 22, dude. I would love that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, as a QB,
What do y'all think about that backfield, though? Jerome Ford had 15 carries.
he
Did
did.
he?
That's
It's
why I
'cause
fucking had him on a few rosters, bro. Like,
Chubb did
if Chubb
fumble.
goes down.
Chubb did fumble, and that's when Jerome Ford started getting a lot of touches.
Yeah,
Which
he
might
did-
have had
he
something to
looked
do with
bad
it.
touches.
Well, and it was later in the game
But
And they couldn't throw
when he
with
started
that
getting more
weather.
touches.
15 carries out of Ford for 38 yards and a fumble. 18 carries out of Chubb for 106.
And 4 receptions.
Yeah, definitely
So-
more of a split backfield than Chubb owners would like.
You like to see 4 targets to Chubb, though, right? I mean, that's...
That's huge.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
used to all go to Hunt. you
Yeah,
know, like-
I think it was more so Ford getting those touches because they were running down the clock and trying to get the game moving
But he
along.
did, I saw some first, second quarter carries in there,
Our next matchup, though, was a good one for the Browns. Though next matchup was actually a pretty good one. Out of nowhere, it was the Jaguars versus the Colts, another divisional matchup.
This was definitely one of the better games.
The
Yeah,
Jags
this
and
was
the
one of the
Colts
better
went
games.
for it on 4th down, I think combined 6 times that game.
That's nice. That's divisional.
There were
game,
so
man. I
many
love
4-and-1s where they were just going for it and not converting either. It was great.
that. Mhm.
Some good defense played.
I was really surprised with how the Colts came out and played. I was not expecting this to be a close game, especially not having Jonathan Taylor. And this was a very, very, good game to watch.
Yeah, and I think
Very entertaining.
I think that's a lot to do with for one, the Colts defensive line looked really good. But Anthony Richardson looked very good too, and he
Yeah.
kept them alive throughout that game.
40 rushing yards.
Gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Maze, you want to tell us about Calvin Ridley this week?
Yeah.
I love that guy, man. Yeah, no, he had a great week, man. He looked, he's been, as the weeks have gone on over the summer, man, it seems like every other week you see a new highlight out of training camp from Ridley. He's been hyped up to the max this season, especially going into week 1.
And he
And
showed
I
it.
think he more than outperformed
Yeah,
expectations.
he creeped up draft boards all off season.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Just
draft now,
up
he's
and up
he's
and up.
second round now.
Yeah, dude. Every mock draft we had, he's getting snatched in the 3rd round. You know
Oh, yeah.
what I mean? Like,
He was the number 1 wide
without
receiver.
playing football in a year, dude, that's nuts, man.
He
He
looks
looked
solid.
great.
Something to keep an eye on too, with that Jaguars receiving core. Zay Jones, he got a majority of the wide receiver 2 snaps, so it looks like Christian Kirk's going to be the slot guy,
Kirk's looking like he needs to be dropped to waivers. man.
and Zay Jones might be that number 2 guy there in Jacksonville.
Which would be
Heartbreaking.
nice.
Yeah, and I think
Because I have Zay Jones.
I think Travis Etienne owners can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people worried about Tank Bigsby. He was, a highly touted prospect.
7 carries for 13 yards out of him and a fumble.
I think they
So,
might work him in more though as the year goes on.
I agree.
I
And
think
he's
good,
going to be the goal line
But they
guy.
did that when they
He's
first
much-
drafted Etienne and had James Robinson, after Robinson's rookie year
Yeah.
where he looked like an animal.
Yeah.
They both still kind of... Robinson stayed relevant for most of the year,
Yeah.
at least.
It's also not. I mean, Tank Bigsby is much bigger than ETN, so he is going to get the goal line touches. But ETN is the guy there, and he's going to get those catches out of the backfield. 5 for 5 on receptions. It's going to make a lot of people happy.
What do y'all think about that Colts backfield?
I was about to say,
Don't want anything to do with it.
Fantasy
Wise,
Jonathan
nothing
Taylor.
to do with
nothing's
it.
gonna be relevant back there. I don't think till Jonathan Taylor gets back.
And even
if
when
he does get back,
if JT comes back, Anthony Richardson's going to snipe a lot of shit from him because that's Cam Newton. That's new Cam Newton.
Yeah, it's just touchdowns. He's still one of those guys who's gonna get 22, 24 carries probably.
True. Real quick, receivers on the Colts side, Michael Pittman looked pretty good. 11 targets.
Surprising.
People are happy to see him. He was going lower in drafts
That
too.
touchdown kind of bailed him out.
Pittman,
I think it was like a 30-yard touchdown.
Yeah, but I mean,
He had
you
11
know,
No,
targets.
he looks
touchdown,
great
11
overall.
targets.
For fantasy purposes,
Yeah.
11 targets. I mean, but that's what we expected out of him.
Yeah.
The tight end on the Indy side didn't look too bad either. 4 for 8 for 40 yards.
Granson,
It's not
Granson.
terrible.
Kyle Granson.
Not terrible, yeah.
8 targets for a tight end, man. That's solid.
Good win for the Jags, though. Our next matchup, I'll let you run off this one. It's Tampa Bay versus Minnesota. A surprising win here for
I
the
don't
Bucks.
think anyone expected this outcome. Now, I think we did expect Justin Jefferson to torch us, which he did.
Yeah,
He
did
put up
torch you.
138 yards in the first
150.
half.
Or 138 in the first half, only 12
Only
in the
12
second.
yards in the second. I actually thought our defense looked great. Big Kirko, 3 turnovers, 2 picks, fumble.
Yeah, an interception and 2 fumbles.
Sorry, I got it backwards. 3 turnovers for Big Kirko. I mean, we came out and looked great defensively. I think, our skill players, everyone was probably a little concerned about with our quarterback play, but Mike Evans was fantasy relevant.
Yeah,
Rashad
he looked
White,
great.
Yeah.
I was never big on we were the worst run team in the league last year. We're obviously not going to jump up too high.
I would be worried if you had Rashad White.
Yeah,
I would
I'm
be worried.
glad
I
I
agree.
moved him.
But
I
most of the
was
game we
looking
were
to
playing
draft
from
him
behind.
a lot this year.
I know, I targeted him a lot.
I wanted to be big on him, but realistically, I knew what to expect.
You're a smart man.
Maybe you can't only blame Linney, from last year's
You would
performance.
just think going from Brady to Baker that they're probably not going to be throwing as much, right?
Yeah, well,
That was my thought process.
That was everyone's thought
Yeah,
process.
Mike Evans came out with 18 fantasy points, had a nice 30-something yard touchdown.
10 targets, I'm happy to see out of him.
Oh, absolutely. Chris Godwin, a solid little 6 targets. Near the end of the game, we were really just trying to run the clock out so we could be more pass-heavy in the future. We were 0 for 5 on third down conversions in the first half, so if we can get our offense clicking a little more, I think the Tampa Bay passing receivers could be fantasy relevant this year. At least Godwin and Mike.
What do we think about the rookie Jordan Addison?
Tell us about the rough man.
I really like Jordan Addison. I think he played 50% of the snaps. KJ Osborne played most of them. I think he came out and balled out. I think as the year goes on, Jordan Addison's gonna take over that wide receiver 2 role.
That touchdown, man, he burned that guy.
Oh, yeah, he was
He looked good. He looked really good.
He's explosive, man. I was kind of disappointed in Alexander Madison this week. I know the Bucks do have a good run game.
We have a great run D.
But he only got 11 carries, which
I think he looked good with the carries that he had. I saw him get some good.
I agree.
he looked all right.
Kirk threw the piss out of the ball, too. I mean,
44 times. Or
Which
something
they're
like
going to do that all year.
they are going to do that, which is why I'd be excited if I had Addison on my roster. On my bench.
Jettas, Addison, Hawkinson, I think they're all fantasy relevant.
Oh, yeah.
They're all startable.
Yeah.
I don't know about Addison
You
saying startable every week yet.
I think he will be by the end of the year.
He'll be up and down. He'll have his boom weeks and then his weeks where he...
If he's on your waiver wire, I'd say try to grab him.
Yeah, that's
100%,
definitely not a bad flex.
Throw a lot of money
especially
on
if he
that.
Had some injuries.
Our next matchup, I'll start with, was the Titans versus the Saints in the Dome.
Snooze fest.
It was a bit of a snooze fest as someone. If I wasn't a Saints fan, I would have hated to watch this game. It was just bad offensive line play from both sides, so both offenses looked pretty bad. Derek Carr had an awful pick too, which really pissed me off when it happened. But other than that, he had a pretty decent game. Finished with 300 yards.
Tannehill did not.
Tannehill did not. That's one of the worst QBs in the league. I think that was his worst QB rating of his career too.
Yeah, I think that's the worst starter right now in the league.
I can't think of one. Yeah. He looked
Or
awful.
Baker.
We're going to rank
How are you going to
Tannehill.
throw Baker in there?
Baker's
after a
up
great
there.
game?
Oh, come on. We beat the
But
Vikings.
Baker's
We
like
beat
the
Vikings.
25th best.
Garoppolo.
Baker.
Garoppolo's up there.
I've seen one of those games Baker played with the Rams last year, dude, was like pretty solid. Man, I've never seen
Go down
Tannehill do
just
something
a
like that,
Coming. Here's the thing, though, with the Titans' backfield, if you own Derrick Henry, I would be pissed. He was
Absolutely.
off the field way too
I've
much.
been meaning to say
Very
that.
off.
Way too much.
Dude, I got
Go ahead. Say what you want to say, Lace.
just the news update, man. It's something like he got out snapped.
Yeah, he was off the field on every third down.
Some first
He
downs.
played 46% of the snaps, and Tajay played 54% of the
Yeah,
snaps or something like that.
Ridiculous.
Tajay 34 snaps to 30 for him.
That's ignorant.
And it's not like they were getting killed all game. This game was
Close.
It was close the entire
all
game. It
games.
was close
All
the
game.
entire
Three
game.
points all game.
Saints do have a good front seven.
The Saints have a great defense.
They do
It's
have
a
a
top
great
10 defense
defense.
in the league.
But when it comes to Derrick Henry,
It's
Yeah.
Derrick Henry.
When it
yeah.
comes to Derrick Henry, you just have him on the field, and they have to respect the fact that he could run that ball down your throat.
If
You don't
you're-
have him on the field, they're not as worried about the run.
Exactly.
Weird, and I didn't even see anything out of Tajay Spears. That
I
was
did.
like,
I did.
He's explosive.
He's
You think
explosive.
so?
He's a
Very
great route
explosive
runner
runner.
out of the
I
backfield.
just didn't see anything that was like, wow, this guy needs to be on the field. You know, I don't know.
It's not the same Derrick Henry that we're used to seeing. 15 carries, 63 yards. It's just I think they're gonna be trying to keep him healthy this year. I think I don't know, Tajay, go pick him up if he's on your waivers.
Yeah.
Not a bad ad.
I wouldn't be too worried about Jamal Williams just yet. I will say the Saints' left side of the O-line got absolutely destroyed by the Titans. And I think that had a lot to do with his low point total, but I saw some plays. Jamal looked really good. For as long as Kamara's out, he needs to be in your starting lineup.
Dude, I'll say
Right.
also, I don't think the DeAndre Hopkins concern was very warranted, man. Like, he looked great with, like I said, the worst starting quarterback in the league. He looked like his old self, I thought.
Yeah, he played one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Saints have good
13 targets,
good
came out with
defense.
seven
Seven
catches.
But like D-Hop's getting open, you know.
Yeah, even with Tannehill being completely awful,
Dog water
if
meat.
you have a receiver getting 13 targets, you need to start him. Olave looked amazing.
Lave looked great.
He looked amazing. Even Michael Thomas
He
looked
did
kind of
look
good.
amazing. Shaheed though, bro. He
Shaheed.
actually looked great.
I personally think, I am a little bit biased, but I think Shaheed's going to finish with more points than MT this year. I've been saying that.
I do
Well,
too, because
yeah,
MT's going to
MT's
get
gonna
hurt.
play
MT's
5
going to play half the games, and he may look good like he did in this game, but he's not going to play every game. And this young guy is a way faster player. He's going to be better for the offense.
Nick Folk is the MVP for the Titans this week.
By far, yeah. I was going to end. Nick Folk, outstanding game. I mean, what a player. Our next game, though, was not close at any point. Was the 49ers versus the Steelers.
This was worse than the New Orleans game. Man.
This
Far
was much
worse.
worse. Much worse. I said something before the year about this game to you, Blake. You can go ahead and lead with that.
Russell did tell me he thought it was going to be a really good game. He was high on Kenny Pickett, and I was sitting there like, against the 49ers defense, I think you're crazy. Not to rub it in. I was right and Russell was wrong.
It's true.
I mean, man, TJ Watt, I think, was the only player worth a shit on that Steelers team entirely on Sunday.
Yeah.
They looked bad all around. We already talked about Deontay Johnson getting hurt. That's not going to be great. Fantasy-wise, I think Najee and Jalen Warren were relatively close in carries. I think Jalen had 3, Najee had 6 rushes.
So terrible.
But that's only 9 rushes from them combined in the first place. On the other side of the ball, Christian McCaffrey
Unbelievable.
Najee sucks, bro.
doing what we expect. It could be a really rough fantasy season if you're a Najee Harris owner like myself. I hate that I'm high on him.
Ayuk though.
Ayuk, though. What do you
Legit.
think of that 49ers receiving core?
I think that 49ers team as a whole
Very
came out
good.
and showed us just how dominant
Yeah.
that they
They
are.
might be the best team in the league.
Brock Purdy, man.
They were good on both sides of the ball. Brandon Ayuk, he's been trending up every year. He's been in the NFL. He's improved. Debo's had high praise for the kid. He looks like he's going to be that wide receiver 1, at least as a pass catcher. Debo, he can run the ball.
He can also
You
just
can line him up anywhere.
one breakup, one bad defensive play, and Debo's to the house.
And in the red zone, they target Ayuk. They don't target Debo in the red zone. Ayuk's the go-to guy.
Ayuk and Kittle in the red zone.
Yep.
Or
And
just hand
McCaffrey.
it to McCaffrey.
Or just give it to that guy behind the O-line. But yeah, before we end here real quick, Brock Purdy did look really good. Like, really good.
Yeah, I think he's a startable quarterback.
Yeah, I was just about to say he may just be
Irrelevant.
startable in
Is
fantasy.
he not waivers and other?
Yeah, he is.
I'm about to have to make him real quick.
This next matchup, though, was closer than I'm pretty sure everyone expected. The Cardinals were supposed to be awful. It was the Cardinals versus the Commanders.
I don't know, man. I wasn't expecting much out of the Commanders either.
I was. I mean, I expected the Cardinals to look just awful, and the Commanders to be better. And the Commanders were not better.
Are you saying
and
the
the
Cardinals
Cardinals
didn't look awful?
They looked better.
Their starting quarterback finished with under a point.
I think both teams look bad, man.
I do too.
That's
I
a
think it was a
terrible-
Which is
bad-
why it was a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's two
because
bad
it's
teams.
two bad teams. Yeah.
I expected more. I mean, Sam Howell didn't look terrible besides his turnovers, which is expected out of a young guy. But his turnovers were awful. He did have some really nice plays.
What was that? His second career start?
Yeah.
I'm excited
Comes
about
some slack.
Brian Robinson.
I'd be excited, too.
dominating that backfield, dude.
Absolutely.
Gibson got
he didn't
3
get any
carries.
touches.
A lot of people with the new
carries.
coaching thought Gibson would come back into like a 50-50.
Well,
yeah.
McKissick was gone.
Yeah, that's very
McKissick
true.
was the pass catcher, and now it's supposed to be Gibson, but he didn't get the touches.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
he got just as many catches as Brian Robinson did.
I will say Brian Robinson finished with almost 3 yards a carry against the Cardinals front. I'd be a little bit worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't worry too much just yet.
What about Terry
Although
owners?
I don't think he's dealing with the greatest O-line over there. Either.
That's also true, Bays. Terry owners,
Terry owners.
Yeah, you're in shambles.
Hit the
man.
panic button.
I would.
Or Dotson owners.
I mean,
That'd
I
still
wouldn't.
be-
I wouldn't hit the panic button on Dotson yet. I
At
think
least
Dotson might
got
end
7
up wide
targets,
receiver
man.
1. or-
McCoy only got 4. Dude.
I don't think any of those guys are huge target hogs, though, which
Yeah.
is very concerning for that offense.
It's probably going to end up, one of them having a good week, the rest being shit.
Yeah.
Constantly. So
Ron Rivera loves Curtis Samuel, man. Just absolutely loves him.
From
he's
the
a
Cardinals,
talented guy.
from the Cardinals side, I like that they were lining up Rondo Moore all over the field. Zach Ertz looked really good. I think he had 10 targets first game back from that ACL injury.
10 targets.
It's weird, man. Why
So-
is Zach Ertz getting 10 targets in 2023?
It's crazy. Because he has a trash quarterback in who's just trying to throw bailout passes every time.
True.
You
Good
throw
win.
it- You throw it to a veteran when you need to be bailed out.
Huh. Good win for the Commanders,
Or
though.
a big target like a tight end.
Yeah, someone that has hands.
Our next matchup, I'll let you run with this one. It was the Green Bay Pack versus the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, there's a new era in Green Bay, and it's Jordan Love.
This doesn't feel like a new era. This felt like a very regular Packers-Bears game.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Love and Fields going at it for the next few years, but the Packers just came out. They look good. The Bears' offense looked slow and sluggish. I don't know if it was the Packers' defense or what it was. Fields, he looked all right. He didn't really run the ball as good as I thought he was going to. I thought he could have scrambled a little bit more.
It felt like
I
he was
agree.
being held back by his coaching
Probably
in a
didn't
way.
want to get hurt,
Like, he
man.
wasn't able to throw down the field at all. They just phased DJ Moore out of the game. They gave him 2 targets.
Well, that's because
I know it's Giants
John Money.
too.
John
I know
Money was on him.
Jair is on him, but get him
Listen,
the ball. Like, you
I've
don't
been
target
saying
your
this
best
all
receiver
offseason.
twice.
I've been saying this all off season. I think Mooney will end up being the wide receiver 1 there. Man.
That
I've never
is-
been high on DJ Moore.
That's a crazy thing.
I
It
think
could happen.
Mooney's better.
It could happen.
I mean, I don't see it.
I think Moore's a
you
better
can watch
player.
both.
I mean,
I don't
Mooney
see how you
gets
can
out-
watch
out-
both those
targeted.
players and say Mooney will end up wide receiver 1.
But
Basically,
you need to
well,
put that
just
take
watch
up on the
game.
ceiling.
I will.
I know you
will,
watch.
actually.
I watched the game where one of the best cornerbacks in the league was on the wide receiver 1, and they phased him out of the game, so they had to get the ball to the other guy.
You
That's
You're
what
right,
I
man. I've never been big on DJ Moore. I just don't think he's very talented, but we'll see.
I thought Romeo Dobbs looked really good. Aaron
He did
Jones
look
looked
really
really good. On the Bears side of the ball, Roshan Johnson, he came in and it was kind of garbage time. I mean, they were down by I think 3 touchdowns,
5 carries for him.
but he outpaced Khalil Herbert and he looked much better on his touches than Khalil Herbert did.
7
so
targets for Roshan Johnson too would worry me as well.
I
That's
would
not
maybe
cool.
go pick him up if he was
That is
available.
not cool, dude.
Komet looked pretty good, man. 7 targets for him, 5 catches.
Yeah, I mean,
Not bad. I don't know if he's startable, but we'll see where that
he's a
goes.
tight end. He's startable.
He's a tight end.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as a Christian Watson owner in many fantasy leagues, I would like him to come back ASAP because, I mean, if Romeo Dobbs is getting 2 touchdowns a game, maybe Watson will get one,
The thing with Watson's more of a big play guy, but Romeo Dobbs is going to be the higher target hog, and he's going to be the 3rd down conversion guy. Watson, he can break it, take it to the house at any point though.
True.
So
I mean, the Packers dominated this game. I felt like every Chicago touchdown was just like a Packers giving up, fine, just score type of thing, and they controlled this entire game. I'd be excited if I were you. Our next matchup, though, was a close game, another close divisional game. was the Raiders versus the Broncos.
Between two bad teams.
Between two bad teams with two bad QBs. And
I thought both QBs actually looked pretty decent, man.
you think?
They look decent
They had decent numbers.
because the other team's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say Russell looked decent, but I think
Fuck
Jimmy outperformed that.
27 for
kid.
34.
His
I mean,
numbers aren't bad, just the passing yards are kind of down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, per
Russ
attempt
is
is
throwing
not
it like
great.
5 yards down the field, you know?
He was missing 2 of his top targets. I
Who was
would
that?
say Judy and Dolchich.
Oh, yeah.
How concerned are you if you're a Josh Jacobs owner?
I mean, I'm
don't know, 19
concerned.
carries. The Broncos have a good front. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried.
I wouldn't be too worried yet either. Yeah.
I mean, average less
nine-
than 3 yards per carry.
19
true.
carries though, man.
19
That's
carries.
all I care.
19
about.
carries, 48 yards. I
It's
don't know.
it's going to be very hard for
Are you worried
Jacobs
as
to
Derrick Henry?
to replicate
Yes.
what he did last year. I don't
Think so.
see him having as good of a year as he did last
Jacoby
year.
Myers, huge week. You know, he's dead now, but
Yeah, he has no brain cells left, but he had a fantastic week.
He
You
took
started
the
him.
ultimate sacrifice, but they won the game.
More targets than Devontae Adams, and he didn't play like a quarter of the game. So, that's
Concerning.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, that is concerning for Adams owners, but I mean, he still does get the 9 targets. That's a pretty good threshold.
Austin Hooper plays for the Raiders now, in case anybody's wondering.
Cool.
1 reception for the guy for 20
And
yards.
Troutman for,
Did not take over Darren Waller's role.
Yeah, that's not the new Darren Waller, everybody. A good win for the Raiders, though.
boring matchup.
Yeah, boring matchup.
Unexpectedly-
We're not going to go much more into that.
Unexpectedly good game here.
Yeah, this might have been one of the games of the week.
It was
It had no
looking like a
business.
great game in the first half.
Yeah, right. The
Ended up being
Patriots
pretty solid.
got blessed with getting back in this game by bad offensive plays from the Eagles, but
Mac Jones started playing good in
I wouldn't even say that. I think it was Mac Jones really just lit it up.
I don't
Threw
know.
the ball
They
54
turned.
times.
No, Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball, gave it back to him, and they're on the side of the field with 3 minutes left.
I mean, he's still throwing 3 tutties and over 300 yards.
Mac
you know?
Jones finishes the
Mac-
quarterback 2 this
Yeah,
week.
Mac did look pretty good. Threw the ball 54 times. Only 1 pick, 3 TDs. Looked better than his counterpart on the other side.
I don't know if you'd say Hurts looked bad, but he just,
He didn't look like Hurts
didn't-
from last
Yeah,
year.
didn't perform up to expectations.
That Patriots D is
Low
it's the
key
real
pretty good.
it's the
yeah.
real deal for
Yeah.
sure.
If you got Swift, you were absolutely sounding the alarm bells.
Yeah, 100%. 1
Kenneth
carry.
Gainwell got 14
Oh my
carries.
God.
14. And he
That's-
wasn't even, thought about, Everybody's like, is it Penny? Is it Swift? Most people were going with Swift. It looks like Kenny Gainwell now, man.
Would you be worried as a Ramondre owner with Zeke's reception and carry total?
I
I
mean,
wouldn't
Zeke had
be
7
worried.
targets.
7 targets kind of pisses me off, but Ramondre still got 6 targets.
You got to remember
So
too,
it's-
Ramondre was questionable coming into this game.
Yeah, the stomach
so
bug.
I'm not worried.
I
About
think we
it.
need
I
another
wouldn't-
week to tell what's going on
Yeah.
in that backfield.
I wouldn't be worried either, man. I think Ramondre is a good talent.
I wouldn't be too worried about Ramondre just yet either. On the receiving side, though, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had, decent weeks.
10 targets each. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
10
happy to see that.
10 targets each.
AJ was just not looking. I mean, he wasn't looking bad or anything, but he got most of his total towards the end of the second half.
Yeah.
I remember looking at that game, keeping up with it on my phone and stuff, and he was, 6 points at the end of the half.
Jalen missed him a couple times, too,
Yeah.
on breakaway plays. But on the other side, Kendrick Bourne, he's got 24 points in fantasy. That's more so because of the touchdowns.
I don't know how many weeks he gets.
11
touchdowns.
targets is...
Is he a rookie?
He's on
man?
waivers. Kendrick
He's
Bourne?
28.
No. Demario Douglas.
28. Okay.
He used to play for the
Is that his
49ers.
name? Demario Douglas?
Um,
Douglas. Little rookie to think about.
Juju
Sitting
still
on
plays
those
football.
waivers.
Look at that.
I think
Not a lot of it.
I think when Devontae Parker comes back here in a few weeks, I think he could be solid if Mac Jones keeps slinging the ball the way
50
the
times.
way he's throwing it.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry could be solid too, man. 8 targets.
Another low key
Six-
tight end.
six
That guy-
targets.
He's a tight end, so he's playable in fantasy.
Although I wish that touchdown would have gone to Gesicki, so we could have seen a nasty gritty.
We'll see
Yeah.
a gritty at some point this year.
Next matchup though is between the Dolphins and the Chargers.
Best
This
game
is
of the
probably the best game of the week
Great
right here.
game.
Definitely. I knew this was going to be a good one going into
If
it.
you're a Tua owner, you are very happy.
Yeah. Are you happy?
Got him in the 10th round, man. QB1 on the
He threw
week.
for 466, and I saw him have 4 bad underthrows,
Yeah.
at least.
Tyreek
Um,
Hill, man.
Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill
it's
makes
hard to
all the
time that
difference.
up. I guess that motherfucker's got burned.
Not much to say about Tyreek except what the fuck, man.
200 plus yards. I mean,
There's no reason for that, man. It's week 1.
I don't think you need to be concerned if you're a Waddle owner. I think that could change any week, which one of them breaks 100 yards. I
Yeah.
don't think Waddle's hitting 200.
Waddle could hit 200.
He
though.
could.
He
He
could.
could. I mean, they're the fastest wide receiver duo in the league. When Tua's slinging it like that, I mean, any given week they can both pop off.
Yeah.
I
Mike
think-
Will went down with an injury. That's why his point total was a little low, but he came back in. So
Yeah, he did come back in.
what's up?
I was just gonna say, I think Patty's wishing the Chiefs would have, paid Tyreek. The way that Tyreek played these past 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Deserved to be paid. I mean,
And after what he just had to go through against the Lions, I know he wants his receiver.
absolutely.
Eckler, we already kind of touched on this. He had the injury, but before that, great game.
I mean,
18
Mhm.
carries,
Unbelievable game.
almost 120 yards. He gets 4 receptions for almost 50. Touchdown.
He's
Great
just
week.
only
an
played
insane
40-something% of the snaps.
Yeah, and he still finished with 26 points. It's just unbelievable.
We're looking to add Josh Kelly, though, just in case Eckler misses a week or two.
Definitely need to be on everyone's radar if Joshua
Receivers.
Kelly's on your waivers.
Keenan Allen did his thing, he's still Keenan.
Keenan's Keenan.
Yeah.
Nobody else really in that backfield other than, not backfield, but in that receiving core looks very serviceable other than maybe Mike Will, but he goes down with that injury. You're not
Paper
sure who's
Mike.
gonna leave
Paper
from
Mike.
Paper Mike.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can all agree that was our game of the week. That was an
That was a fun one to
incredibly
watch.
entertaining
for sure.
game. Next matchup was very surprising. Was the Rams versus the Seahawks, another divisional one. The Rams kind of just dominated,
Puka.
30-13. Yeah,
That was very surprising to me, man.
yeah. Gino looked like old Gino.
I mean, they're well coached. They're well coached, and Stafford looked like vintage Stafford.
Yeah, 334 in the air is definitely.
And this
vintage.
score is deceiving, man. This game was very close up until like the second half, like late into the second half, late into the third quarter at least.
Yeah, when DK started throwing cheap shots, that's how you know it's over.
Well, the Seattle had the ball for 5 total minutes in the second half.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
Embarrassing.
It's tough.
Ken Walker showed some flashes, but yeah, like you said, they didn't have the ball much, so he couldn't get the ball much.
Same thing for DK, man. He had all of his points in the first half. He had 13.7, gets that touchdown early in the first half. You're thinking you're gonna have a great game. Gets 1 catch the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Cam Akers on the other end.
Yeah, 22 carries, 29 yards.
You like to see the carries. You hate to see. I mean,
You hate to see his
that's
backup
stinky.
outperform him like that.
Mhm.
I'm scrambling to add Kyron Williams, man.
Yeah,
think
I would
he's
too.
gonna be a great
Are
start.
you scrambling to add any of these Rams wide receivers, Nakua or Atwell?
Blake's been pretty high on Puka. Andrew, was acting like he was high on him, and he drops him like the day before.
Thank you, Andrew.
I think he's looking
He's
good.
mine.
I-
15 targets. I mean, Stafford threw the ball, I think, 30 times. That's half of them. I mean,
This just tells me that when Cup comes
That's what
back,
I was gonna
it's over.
absolutely.
It's
If
gotta
you're a cup
I
owner,
need
though,
that.
and Puka's on your waivers, I think that's a must target for you.
Yeah, I think so too.
If he's not.
Or
yeah.
Tutu Atwell. I mean, honest, I feel like either one of them could have.
Tutu did look
Yeah.
good, man.
Tutu look good.
I will say, I'm calling it now. I think Geno Smith is gonna regress very hard this year.
You think so?
I think Geno is gonna have a very bad year this year.
I'd hate that.
Put it up on the wall, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can put it up on the wall after this. Just a couple more matchups here. We're gonna run into the Sunday night matchup
So
real
isn't a
quick.
game.
We're not gonna talk about any Giants
There's not much
players.
to talk about.
About any Giants players. I'm serious. No one say a word about any Giants players
They all
because it's
suck.
really annoying. And they all suck. And the only two that you really need to start are Saquon and Darren Waller, and they did absolutely nothing. This
Daniel
game.
Jones is starting in most leagues too.
That's tough.
Maybe
man.
not after.
Maybe not after this
Yeah.
week. But yeah, on the Cowboys side,
Kind of crazy
that
to see them
defense
put up 40 points.
is
Dak has
like the
6.
Eagles of last year. I think you should put them in every week, no matter the matchup.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too, man. 40-0 with 6 points from your quarterback. That's crazy.
Yeah, right? Like,
I thought
TP?
TP.
it was a big statement that I think there was 10 minutes left in the fourth. They were up by 33, and all their starters were in.
All the
They were
Cowboys-
they were trying to drive down the field and shove it right in their mouth, and go up by 40. I thought that was pretty crazy and wild to watch.
Like if
Dude.
go ahead.
If you know that Dallas New York Giants history, man, they fucking hate each other. The Giants, especially in the Romo era, dude, it would be every year Dallas is 8-8 going into the last week. You know what I mean? And they have to play the Giants, and the Giants knock them out of the playoffs every year, bro.
I'd say don't be concerned if you're a CD owner. Obviously, Dak was not going to be slinging it downfield a ton.
Yeah.
There was a big, I think, 49-yard catch in the first quarter by CD. After that, Not much from him.
Even Brandon Cooks, like I wouldn't be that worried. They just didn't.
They didn't
They
have
had
to
no
throw the
need
ball,
to.
man.
They didn't need
It's
to.
26-0 in the first quarter. It's
Dallas's
like-
defense,
Carried.
you know,
Did it all.
Yeah, new Dalton Schultz though. Jake Ferguson with 7 targets. Might be a nice little waiver ad. Once again, he's a tight end, so he is playable in fantasy.
and I will say Tyreek better, come out balling because that Dallas D might finish his point rank 1 on the year altogether.
Right? He's gonna need to put up 40.
He might
a week.
outscore. He might outscore Tyreek next week.
Oh, just absolute domination though. 40 to zip is something crazy. Our final matchup, Hunter. I'll let you start this one off because I know what we got to start with, and I know you're not.
Well,
happy
it
about
started off, he ran out of the tunnel, on
That flag in
9/11
his
with the
hand,
flag,
it
the
looks
crowd's going
so
crazy.
awesome. It
You know,
looks
he's
so awesome.
they're in the retro Jets unis, and the first 3 plays of the game, I think he was in the game for a minute and a half or a minute 15. First 3 plays of the game, he's back there running for his life. They had pressure and ends up getting sacked. And you could the whole crowd just got deflated, dude.
Like I said, you could see it in slow motion when they zoom in. You can watch it roll up his ankle.
It's so terrible, man.
It ended up turning into a good game after
yeah.
that. But that just took the life out of,
You
people
could feel it.
watching,
You could feel it.
I had some Jets fans at work just absolutely screaming at this game, bro. It was something.
Super sad to see, man. I really hate that for Aaron Rodgers because,
Yeah.
we saw from the rest of the game that Jets team with Aaron Rodgers looked like a Super Bowl contender. That defense is insane. They bullied Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. They make Josh Allen look like shit.
They made him look like Daniel Jones.
I would say I'm worried for Garrett Wilson. But
I would be too,
He
yeah.
had great numbers last year with terrible quarterbacks, so I'm not super worried.
Yeah, well, he had Joe Flacco
with
throwing
his
it 50
ceiling, I
times.
think his ceiling does
Drops.
drop.
Yeah,
definitely.
He goes
His-
from where
His floor, I don't think goes anywhere, but I think his ceiling does.
Yeah. He goes from where you got him in the second round, I think, to where you got
Third or
like
fourth.
DK in the third.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Brees
Which
looked
sucks.
good.
Which definitely, I was just about to say Brees looked insane.
Brees
was really
he, at first, he was averaging
127
50 yards a
dude.
carry
I was
from his
working
first
for
2
most of
carries,
this.
which is insane.
I was working for most of this game. I didn't even notice that he was going off like that.
I think if Brees never had that injury last year, he takes that 80-yard run to the house.
Yeah, we were saying that last night watching the game.
I think in the first half, he had 2 carries for 107 yards or something like
Yeah,
that.
he had a
his
20
first
yard
2
run and
carries, he had
83.
108 yards
Yeah,
after
yeah.
his first 2 carries.
Yeah, he looked good.
Diggs, insane.
He's still Stephon Diggs. For
And the
sure.
fact that he did that against Sauce Gardner and DJ
Well,
Reed,
He doesn't follow the receiver around the field. The Jets
I
play.
know, but he was on him a lot.
I know, but whenever they don't want Sauce on him, they just line him up on the other side of the field. Sauce doesn't come across the field to follow the number 1. So
Yeah,
he did a lot of his work not on Sauce. He was on DJ Reed when he caught a lot of those
and DJ
passes.
Reed is still a very good player.
He is.
That entire Jets defense is good, and the fact that he was able to do that against that defense is what I'm saying. It's just, It's Diggs.
Tough loss for the Bills, man.
Tough loss.
Mhm.
All
Game
on
for
Josh Allen.
Unexpected.
All on
100%.
Josh Allen. They do not lose that game if he has 1 less turnover, I think.
Several upsets this week.
Several, yeah. That'll do it for our matchups. We're getting pretty close to
Yeah, you want to run through some waiver wire ads?
Yeah. To finish off, we wanted to go over our waiver ads of the week. After these matchups, Baze, if you want to go ahead and start off with who you think is
Well, like I just
worthy to
said,
grab.
5 minutes ago or whatever, I'm scrambling to add Kyron Williams. I think Akers, there's no way he gets 22 carries ever again in his career. I don't think it happens, man. You don't get 22 carries and basically average 1 yard a carry. You just don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyron Williams, he passed the eye test as well. I thought he looked like an explosive athlete, and the 2 tutties definitely helps.
Hunter?
Oh, and also Algier, man. He's probably rostered. I think I saw something like 55% of leagues, but if he's available, I would get him too. Like I was saying, I think the Falcons backfield can support 2 running backs fantasy-wise.
I would maybe go I have like 2, but I would maybe that Baltimore backfield. You can go out and get Justice Hill, Gus Edwards. You could go get Kareem Hunt if you want. I think it's going to be a committee unless they sign or trade. They might trade for JT. That's something to keep an eye on. My other ad is Kendrick Bourne. I think he could have a real big he could contribute a lot to this Patriots offense going forward, especially the way Mac Jones looked.
There's no clear-cut wide receiver one.
And
It's up for grabs.
They're still waiting on Devontae Parker to get back too, so
That's true.
I think he's a good ad.
Yeah. And like I said throughout the show with tight ends, the tight end situation in the NFL and for fantasy, it's already awful. Most of the time, it's your worst player. So for me, I like the rookie Sam Laporta out of Detroit. I think he looked really good in his first game. He's just going to get better. He's a rookie. And then on another team, Hayden Hurst for the Panthers. I mean, none of those wide receivers really did much, and it looked like for Bryce Young couldn't find a guy. Give it to Hayden Hurst.
Safety net for sure.
So with the tight end situation in the NFL, I'd monitor both those guys. Outside of that, with Eckler's injury and just how good Joshua Kelly looked for the Chargers, he got more snaps, and that's definitely due to the injury. But if Eckler has to deal with an injury like this, or they just want to split touches for him all year, Joshua Kelly needs to be rostered too.
I'm going for a couple wide receivers. If you're a Cooper Kupp owner, obviously you want to be targeting, if I'm saying this right, Puka Nacua.
Nacua.
Again, 15 targets, 10 receptions. Even if he has 10 targets, 5 less, he's catching 6 or 7 of those on that percentage. We know who Matthew Stafford likes to throw to. Aside from that, you like this one. I like Rashid Shaheed this week.
I love that one.
He looked really good, and he was y'all's kick returner also, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little boom potential there if he could take any of those back this season, if he keeps receiving those this year.
I do like that.
But he also looks good as a receiver. I'm not a big believer in Michael Thomas staying healthy, and he could easily be the number 2 if anything were to happen to Michael Thomas. So those are my 2 ads for the week.
I like them all from everybody. Actually,
I got one more I don't want us to forget about is Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
That Eagles backfield, I don't think they know who is going to be the main guy there. Penny being a healthy scratch, I think, was pretty big and weird.
Really weird.
No one expected Gainwell to kind of be the go-to guy, so I think he's worth a pickup.
Yeah, and that means he's also probably available in your league right now.
Exactly.
Nobody was expecting him to do this. I've seen a few people over the past week say to add him, but other than that, it's been radio silence.
Yeah. That'll do it for our first show of the season, guys. After week 1, we'll be back on YouTube next week for week 2.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.